Hello, everybody, and welcome to the digital download. I hope that all of you out there are having a lovely, well, it feels kind of like summer after a little cold burst again in the UK. So I hope you're all having a lovely day and are looking forward to the weekend. And today on the digital download, we're going to be covering personal development and growth, which I think is fairly pertinent for most people out there at the moment. But an interesting thing, I was obviously we've not been here for a couple of weeks, and I was looking back at a previous digital download, which is about a month ago, and Tim said in that we started doing the digital download 11 months ago, which means that this could well be our first birthday, couldn't it, of doing the digital download?
It was May,
which is quite exciting, really, that we've been doing this for a year,
and we've only been copied once.
So far, well, as far as we know.
Quite exciting and terrifying in the same breath, and terrifying that a year has gone. If it is a year, it's gone like that.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember when Tim said maybe we should just have like a team meeting and do it in the public domain, and we all thought, well, that's a good idea. We'll give that a try. And it does seem like just yesterday, doesn't it? So should we all introduce ourselves? Tim first, because you're in my top left-hand corner.
Okay, yeah, I'm Tim Hughes. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite, writer of a book on social selling, and one of the team.
Lorena.
Hello, I'm Lorena Borgo. I am from Lima, Peru. I'm based in Lima, Peru, and I run my own company, consultant company, InPeak Consultants. It's social selling and legal marketing for lawyers.
Fantastic. Alex.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Alex Abbott, founder of Sapiro, B2B sales consulting firm and associate of DLA Ignite.
Eric.
Hi, my name's Eric Doyle. I am one of the co-founders and a senior consultant with Crux. We're a business transformation consultancy partnered with DLA Ignite. They help companies transform to social media from an analog position.
Fantastic. Lenwood.
Hello, I'm Linwood Ross. I'm the founder and CEO of Accelerate, and we are located or based in the U.S., just outside of New York City. You could be anywhere now, right? Remote
Absolutely,
work.
Yeah.
So we're just outside New York City and New Jersey. We're a digital transformation company. And we're partners with DLA Ignite. We partner with them on the social selling aspect of digital transformation, or I should say social aspect of digital transformation.
Rob.
Good morning, all. I'm Rob Durant, founder of Flywheel Results. We're just outside of Boston. We offer sales recruiting and training for tech startups, and we are also a partner of DLA Ignite.
Thank you all. And I'm Adam Gray. I'm Tim's business partner and co-founder of DLA Ignite. And today, now I know that lots of you will probably know that what we are going to be talking about, or at least for part of the session today. So we've been working on this for some time. And would you like to bring Patrick in, Tim?
Yeah, sure. Patrick,
hey,
welcome.
Hi, Patrick. Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Certainly. My name's Patrick Joyner. I'm the Managing Director of the Institute of Sales Professionals, ISP for short, and we are the professional body for selling. We're based in the UK and also a fully accredited awarding body and endpoint assessor for sales apprenticeships. Fantastic.
Which brings us perfectly on to why you're joining us today as our special guest. So if I wind back and give a little bit of background to this, Tim and I founded the company must be 6 years ago now, and what we decided we wanted to do was to provide social transformation services for organizations, which ultimately is training and empowerment. And one of the key things that we deliver is social selling training, which delivers revenue into organizations and greater visibility, greater credibility, and all of those things that organizations want in the public space. But what we have seen is that existing sales methodologies either don't address social and digital selling, or they address it as a bolt-on rather than core to what it is that they do. And so many of the options that are out there for social selling tend to be based on tips and tricks or half-day masterclasses, or these small things which impart loads of information but actually don't impart change many times within organizations. So we wanted to create something which was different, and we also wanted to create something which would be a flagship product for people to look up to and to want to be part of. So we've been for actually some years now talking to the ISP about how we can partner to take what is the world's top sales professionalizing body and their position in the marketplace as a global organization, and our position, as we like to think, as the best social selling company, which are a global organization, and bring them together to produce something which is exciting and validates the person that has been through it and been through the learning and gives them an award at the end of it. So I think that's a kind of a positioning for that. So Patrick, it's great to have you here. And why are we together? What does the ISP do, and why are we partnering with you on this?
Okay, thank you for that. So the ISP, we exist to. People always used to say to help the sales profession achieve a professional status. I would argue at that point, I think the sales profession already is highly professional, has professional status. It's about affording it the professional recognition it deserves. So we exist to define, to promote, and to celebrate the highest standards of professionalism in sales and sales management. We are the body that approves and accredits training partners in their programs to provide an external validation for the training that they do. We provide lifelong learning opportunities for our members through our CPD platform and events and webinars and seminars. We lobby government on behalf of the sales profession. We represent the voice of the sales profession is effectively what we're about. What brings us to working with DLA Ignite is that, as you said, you've been working for a long time now developing a very strong social selling program. And what we recognize is that it was a trend in any case, but I think the last 2 years of COVID lockdown has absolutely catapulted us into the era of digital selling. And it is a skill set which many salespeople are still grappling with and maybe haven't fully mastered. And what's clear, all the research is telling us that more and more buyers are making more of their purchasing decisions entirely digitally, that they are shortlisting potential suppliers digitally, that they're identifying potential solutions digitally, and that unless as sales professionals we have a professional presence in the digital space, we're probably going to be missing out on a lot of business. So we're really keen to work with suppliers and providers of training in the digital space to enable our members and other sales professionals to upskill themselves in this important area.
Fantastic. I think one of the things that we've seen in our travels is that there certainly seems to be a hunger for learning in this space. But as a buyer of training in this space, and one of the reasons that we wanted to partner with you is that this is it's quite a confusing area to be in. You know, there are many quick start type learning programs out there, and programs which may transmit and communicate good ideas and upskill people from a knowledge perspective. But what they often fail to do is to get any lasting benefit into the organization and the individual. So we wanted to create something which would be notably different from that, but also something where the salesperson could be proud of the fact that they had achieved a particular status in that, and they had been able to demonstrate those skills. And one of the things that we feel very lucky about is that we have the energy of all of our reseller network globally that can help us to deliver this in each of the different regions and with their specific clients and their specific industry vertical knowledge, in order that we can make the training as pertinent and effective to these organizations as possible. Because one of the challenges that we have always tried to address is that this isn't about just upskilling the salesperson or upskilling the marketing person or whichever function within an organization they might be in. But this isn't just about upskilling those individuals. It's about providing strategic and fiscal benefit to the organization itself.
Absolutely, and we're particularly delighted to be working with DLA Ignite on this project. I think because, as you alluded there's lots of activity that goes on in the name of sales training, and most of it is good, but there is a degree of inconsistency, there is a degree of confusion for the buyer. What's good, what isn't good, and for us what is important is consistently high standards. And more than that, it's also being able to demonstrate, first of all, actually a meaningful acquisition of knowledge, but more importantly, a meaningful application of knowledge at the end of any learning process that people go through. So one of the things that we hold very close to our hearts is some kind of measurement of knowledge acquisition and knowledge transfer as a prerequisite for any program that we're going to endorse or accredit. So for us, that was a real attraction to your program, amongst the others that we also approve. Because it gives or forces the learner really to demonstrate how they're taking the skills they've acquired during the program and they're putting it into practice in the workplace. And for us, that gives us the satisfaction of knowing that a program is robust and really delivers value to the purchaser.
That's fantastic. I just quickly scribbled down that acquisition of knowledge and application of knowledge. I can see, to quote you, Tim, there's a blog in that. I can certainly see something coming out of that. And yeah, so I mean, I'm sure all of you guys have seen the same thing, haven't you, in the marketplace, where there are lots of pretenders to the throne. There's lots of kind of not real value being delivered because there is no structure and process around deploying those learnings that come out of any training that people receive.
I think if I may jump in, yes, absolutely, the sort of misapplication of expertise or knowledge or whatever it might be. So you have people, and we come across organizations who've been in trouble, who've noticed that there are shortcomings in pipeline, shortcomings in forecasts, ability to access markets, territories, whatever it might be. And maybe there might be some market influence on that, there might be some internal influence on that, and they've reached out to someone who's got the quick fix program that's going to make them all rich in a couple of afternoons worth of work, and of course they, in desperation, they'll reach out and they'll go through this thing and nothing changes, but they've spent more money, and that was the thing they were trying to avoid doing. So if organizations can look around and see, right, okay, there's something here which is sort of validated, it's bolstered, it's supported, it's flagged up as it's been filtered and checked, then I believe it's going to give organizations a confidence. We know it. We speak to lots and lots of organizations every week, every month, every quarter who are dyed in the wool, old school sales, marketing, and business development to the core. We need people on the phones, we need people emailing, we need people setting up meetings, we need people going to events, and we need to be advertising. That's all we know. That's the only tools we have in our box. So the idea of doing things differently, the idea of converting to social and digital is not an obvious turn for everyone right now, unless it's explained properly, unless the route from analog to social or analog to digital is well mapped out and has good guidance and good Sherpas along the way, then people are going to feel nervous and confused. And right now, we know, because we get the ambulance calls, there are lots of people who've fallen for the old, we're gonna show you how to use, and it's horrible, it's horrible. We're going to show you how to use LinkedIn as a business to generate revenue in 2 hours. So we work with organizations for 3 months as a bare minimum. We'd like to extend that relationship to 6 months. And we work with very, very bright, very high business acumen laden people with MBAs, people with 20, 30, 40 years business experience, who need that time to be able to bed into this new mindset, these new habits and behaviours. And I love the fact that this has been sort of validated and endorsed now. It feels now like a safe pair of hands. It should feel that way to companies.
We've all been on calls, haven't we, Eric, where someone says, "Oh yeah, we've had someone so-and-so in to do some social selling training." You said, "What was that?" Well, they came in for 2 hours, and they spoke at the sales kickoff or something like that. And you said, "So what did you get out of it?" And they went, "Nothing."
Yeah.
I think the other thing that we see is that I mean, you've said this on many occasions, Eric, when you've done kind of that initial conversation with the client, and you said, "So how are you guys doing on social?" And they say, "We're absolutely hitting it out of the park." And you sort of scratch under the surface of that. And so what you did, well, we post something on our LinkedIn corporate page, twice a week, and everyone in the company, likes it and comments on it, and it's fantastic because we've got this visibility. And I think that the one of the fundamental challenges is that it's a bit kind of king in his new clothes, isn't it? When there's no obvious truth out there, everybody's opinion seems equally valid. And I think that one of the things that I'm really hoping that this will achieve is that it will be a beacon for people to say, okay, that is a measure of good practice in this space. So simply resharing content is not good practice. It is doing something which is better than nothing, but it's not good practice. So we can put a series of markers in the sand that say, if you want to be successful, these are the things that you need to be able to do. And if you're doing these things, then you can get a badge and a certificate that demonstrates that you're doing these things.
Yeah. Can I just answer the question again? So this is all being recorded, and I will be putting it back onto will be going on my YouTube channel. So yes, there will be a replay available.
If I could just jump in for 1 second here, I wanted to just address one of the reasons why we at Accelerate chose to partner with DLA Ignite, and it actually comes from the perspective of our understanding of what it takes for digital transformation. For 1 second here, what it takes for digital transformation to be successful. We were looking for a partner that understood social selling, but also understood that at the core, there has to be a behavior change. Digital transformation is not just about the technology and the tools. It's about new behaviors, new ways of doing things. It's great that we are pairing with the introduction of this program and the partnership with the Institute of Sales Professionals, that we're partnering that with personal development, because for everyone who wants to participate in this new economy, we have to grow, we have to learn new things, but we have to apply those things and adopt new behaviors so that we can be effective in a digital world.
When Patrick was talking about...
Sorry.
I was just going to say, when Patrick was talking about the acquisition and application of knowledge and demonstration of that, I was reminded of a short clip of Gary Vee. And he asks, well, what's the value of a basketball? For me, he goes on to say, it's 2 blown out knees. But for LeBron James, it's multi-millions of dollars. And I'm reminded of our process. Well, what's the value of a like or a share? And what we've done here is shown the revenue driving applications. That's how the sales performance is measured. And that's how they get to show the application and acquisition of knowledge as well. So I believe it's very much aligned with what salespeople are looking for at the end of the day.
Great point.
Yeah, I think also the fact that this is a proper formal qualification and accreditation that people are going to get means hopefully that salespeople will see this as an integral part of their own development. So I think, Patrick, this qualifies for CPD points, doesn't it? It gets all of the things that the learning and development and education sector within organisations demand from a robust program. But also, as Rob said, it pulls together the fact that this is not about building likes and views and shares. This is absolutely about building revenue, which is the key to what the ISP and we're interested in doing in this sector.
That's right, and I think it addresses the needs of employers and individual sales professionals, because employers, and I'm sure any of you are out there at the moment who are looking to recruit salespeople, they're good salespeople available to hire are a little bit like hen's teeth just now. And positioning yourself as an employer of choice is really important. And the first port of call that people usually go to is, well, I'll just double the salary or whatever incremental they need to put. Clearly, that's not a sustainable model. So a lot of employers are now looking to be able to demonstrate to potential salespeople how they're going to add value to their career. Why am I going to be better off after working for you for 3 years than I would be to one of your competitors? And supporting people in their own professional development, giving them transferable qualifications which have currency beyond the walls of the business that they're working in today, is a really important way to demonstrate that as an employer you're adding value to your people. I think we all have to accept that employment these days, it's like serial monogamy. Nobody expects a job for life. Everybody knows in the real world that we're going to be moving on to another employer at some point. But if I leave better off for having worked for you, I'm likely to hang around for longer. And by the time I leave, you will be better off for having hired me as well. So it's supporting people in their professional development, and it's supporting employers in being able to attract and retain the best talent and get the best from them whilst they're there.
And some of the feedback that we get is that actually salespeople want to see their employer invest in them. That for them, money's interesting, but we all know that that for money has to make a difference, which then means that you're talking, for a salesperson, you're talking large amounts of money. Whereas what they're looking for is their employer to actually say, you're really key to us. This is how we're going to invest in you. And that kind of shows a link up with learning and development, not just coming from budgets from within sales or marketing. Would you agree with that, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. And the salary thing doesn't do it. I've been talking to someone recently who moved from one business to another business as head of sales. Within 4 or 5 weeks, he'd been tapped up by another organization who have tempted them across to him for even more money. And nobody's getting value out of that sort of process, and that way lies insanity. So I think people are looking for companies who are investing in them in a meaningful way, so that actually, as I said before, I walk away better off for having worked for you. I walk away with something which has currency beyond the company that I've been working with for now. And I think particularly looking at the millennials and Generation Z who are coming into the marketplace, or Generation Z, I should say, for our American colleagues, they're looking for more than that. The money actually isn't the thing which motivates them. Actually, it is developing them. It is investing in them, because people are making different decisions now about how and where they choose to work than perhaps they were even 2 years ago.
There's a brilliant part about being a member of the ISP, and there's a strap line which sums this up. We uphold the quality, ethics, and standards of professional selling, but there's a lovely part at the end, and we're here to celebrate everything that's great about being a sales professional. And I think that little statement might be a kind of throwaway website statement, but it's loaded with gold when you think about it, because to celebrate everything that's great about being a sales professional, we haven't been celebrating that for a long time. We haven't been celebrating that, and it's worthy of celebration. We are that. Not to get too heavy-handed, but we work with lots of people who are sitting on the fence trying to defend historic practices, medieval practices, like they are, like they're holy and they need to be preserved. We need to take the gloves off a little bit. We are at whether we like it or not, I might be accused of being a romanticist. We are in the midst of one of the
You're a romanticist.
I'm a romanticist. We're in the midst of one of the biggest evolutions in the art and craft of sales, marketing, and business development that any of us have ever seen, and ever will see. And humming and hawing, trying to defend an old medieval practice in light of this massive evolutionary change is futile. Now, if we're going to celebrate everything that's great about being a sales professional, one of the things we need to start celebrating is the ability for us to evolve and be the best in our craft. I don't know any salesperson who wants to be the 25th best salesperson in their company. And it's about time, if you want to be that cutting edge, leading professional where we're celebrating everything about being a sales professional, we need to be at the cutting edge. We need to be at the head of the revolution, leading the charge. Sorry, just how I feel.
And you're absolutely right. I'm old enough that my first sales job, I was given a box file with card indexes in it with handwritten notes from all my clients, and every Friday I'd come into the office and show my sales manager all my handwritten notes that I'd added to those things. Nobody had a computer on their desk. The most technological thing we had was a golf ball typewriter in the office. Nice. The high tech.
Rolodex?
Oh yes, we've all been there, and it's. But now we take that stuff for granted. If we seriously think that the digital transformation is going to go away, we are acting like King Canute. The tide is not reversible, and unless we embrace it, we are going to be
washed away,
or at the very least up to our necks in it.
Yep, indeed.
I think there's another paradox for the poor salesperson that's working in their industry. If they're unhappy where they're working, they have to create a persona online which makes them look like a really good salesperson. And the problem with creating a persona on LinkedIn, for example, that makes them look like a really good salesperson is that it absolutely inhibits them from being able to do their job. So Tim and I were running a training session with a client the other day, and one of us said, you do realize that every time you write the word sales in your profile, you will reduce the number of people that want to have a call with you by 50%. Because actually nobody says, I want to talk to a salesperson. Now, the problem here is that if you strip out all of your sales expertise from your profile, you end up with something which makes you very effective at your job, but nobody will ever notice you as a salesperson and employ you. But here you have an opportunity to create a fantastic customer-facing and customer-centric persona, and also demonstrate expertise in all of the things that make you a great salesperson, an ability to understand your clients, listen to your clients, create opportunities, close opportunities, and be ethical. So all of the things that the ISP stands for and our program stands for. So that's an incredibly powerful reason for salespeople to want to get qualified in this way. So
it's all gone quiet.
It has all gone quiet.
That was so profound. Adam, we were sitting here just stunned.
Should just end it there, really. Thanks everyone for coming.
I have to be honest, I found myself distracted by some of the messages that are coming up on the screen, and there's somebody here talking about the fact that everybody in the supply chain industry has been undervalued and underappreciated for years, and I think that's very true. And the truth is that we in sales, we are the engine room of the economy. If we don't do what we do, everything grinds to a standstill. And we have been undervalued, underestimated, underappreciated. But I think that particularly with the change in sales practices, the fact that we do have to be smarter online, we do have to be building profiles that make people want to engage with us. It's I guess just as dating has changed. He said, having been happily married for 30 years with no first-hand experience of this whatsoever, but sort of meeting partners online through dating websites is the norm now. Apparently, more people meet
30% of people now meet their partners online.
So if we're not in that space, and we talk about sales being a relationship-based business, and absolutely it is, but the majority of relationships these days are initially formed, at least, digitally. So unless we are skilled at doing that, we're going to be drinking alone for a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a great point. That's a great point, and it's one. I was on I was doing like a panel, but on Clubhouse, and there was a consultant on there. I think years ago he had worked for Accenture. He's a baby boomer, and he said that while he could tell that he could see how people nurtured relationships online, he had a difficult time seeing how people started relationships on time. And as soon as I heard that, I thought to myself, wait a minute here. There are a couple of generations out there. They see it the reverse, actually. You start relationships online and then move them offline. So that's just to be able to see that and recognize that that's a huge change in the way things work today. It's big.
Very good. I'm just thinking back to when you mentioned about the file with the handwritten notes in it. I remember prior to getting into sales, being in quality and being asked by the quality director to because we were rewriting we were looking for all the business improvement angles for every single process in the organization, functional process. So Eric, can you go up and speak to the sales director and ask if we can, we'd like to proceduralize the art of creating demand and closing business and tap into what goes on. And I remember walking into, do you remember the character on the Fast Show that used to sell cars, Fast Tony?
Fast Tony, Swiss Tony.
Swiss Tony, yes, yeah. Swiss Tony. I remember walking into this room with these beautifully coiffured guys with brilliant suits on, and said, "Can I chat to someone about proceduralizing how you close business?" Just a young quality person. And this guy turned around to me and said, "It's not about writing it down. It's about what we know up here. It's about what's up here, and you will never be able to write this down because it's a dark art, young man." And they all left.
So Patrick, while you're here, can you explain to everybody what it is that's been created?
So what's been created? First of all, we've been talking with Adam and the team for quite some time now. Adam came to us with this idea of a qualification in social selling. Together with our education division, Adam has been working hard to build up a qualification framework. So we've looked at what do we believe has to be in place to be able to say, yes, somebody has reached a standard of competence and ability in social selling. So we've agreed a qualification framework. We've agreed all the component parts of that. We've looked at how we then going to evaluate whether or not people have met that standard. That's still a little bit of an ongoing process, but we're nearly there with that. In order that if somebody does a program and achieves the standard to pass, it has direct comparability with somebody who's done the same program with a different trainer in a different organization in a different part of the world. As an individual, you know that the standard you've met is consistent. And really that's what qualification is about. It is about codifying, going back to my expression, the acquisition of knowledge. It's about being able to demonstrate that if I've got this certificate in social selling, it means exactly the same as if somebody else has it somewhere else, so that actually it now has universal currency. It actually means something. But we've been working hard to get that consistency into the content, that consistency into the delivery, that consistency into the evaluation of learning, so that you've got a credible and meaningful qualification, just as our degrees, our A-levels, our doctorates, whatever level of education we've reached, they have that consistency and that external validity. So it's not just a training company saying, we believe what we've done is marvelous. There's actually an external validation to say, yeah, this meets the standard.
Yeah, we were very keen at the beginning when internally we were kicking around the idea of producing something like this, that this wasn't a certificate of attendance, that this was going to be quite an onerous process for people to pass the examination, so it actually meant something at the end of it. And yeah, absolutely, the fact that delivered and qualified in the US or in Peru or in China or in Singapore actually is the same as if it's done in London or done in Aberdeen is absolutely vital for that uniformity of performance.
And Patrick, why do we need this?
I think we need it. So the ISP already has its existing suite of qualifications in sales and sales management. I mentioned before with the endpoint assessor for the sales apprenticeships. And whilst many of those programs have elements of social selling, or at least a nod towards the area of the digital space, none of them are primarily focused on it. And as I said before, I think that the need for salespeople to have these skills, to be able to perform in this space, to be able to stand out more than perform. You know, the challenge with the digital space is that in a 15-inch square, everybody can look like IBM. So how am I, as a salesperson, or how am I going to cut through and stand out as being different from my competitors? If I get face to face with them, I've got some skills and knowledge that will help me do that. But actually, what I'm now realizing is that I've got to get through the door to see them. And back to the points we were making earlier, that first contact is probably going to be happening digitally. It may well be happening without us even knowing that it's happening. So what is the digital footprint that we're creating for ourselves that's going to enable us to stand out and make our customers want to talk to us? And it's such an important skill that I think it's important that we establish a standard and a criteria against which people's abilities can be evaluated and graded. Because then if you're an employer and somebody turns up with this qualification in their hand, you know what it means they can do.
Yeah.
And if I'm a salesperson and I want to get a job, I can demonstrate my knowledge through the piece of paper.
And how? So if anyone's watching this, how do they get them? Do they come to you, or what happens?
So they would always go with, as with all our qualifications, the relationship between the learner and the deliverer is through the training organisation. So in this instance, they'd be coming to yourselves, DLA Ignite. They'd be saying, I want to acquire the ISP qualification. You would then register the students with us. You'd go through the program. We'd go through the assessment process. So the point of contact, the relationship is with us as a awarding body to the training organisation, and from the training organisation direct to the learner. Clearly, on an ongoing basis, we would love to engage with the learners directly and encourage them to become members of the Institute. And as a learner with an approved training organisation, you acquire a student membership for the duration of your studies, so you get a taste of what it's like to be a member of the Institute. But as far as a learner is concerned, the relationship is with the training organisation. Our job, if you like, really, is to police the training organisation, to make sure that what you as the learner is getting has a high quality, delivers consistent standards and an outstanding outcome.
Fantastic. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. This is the start of a really exciting new chapter for DLA Ignite, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have the ISP as our partner in this. We have got the best training program in the world. We've partnered with the best professional sales organization in the world. We are a global organization, as are you. And the fact that the people that we teach will end up with a badge of honor, which is ratified by both us and you, I think is something which ultimately will be hugely valuable to both the organizations that employ us and the individuals that we work with. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I beg your pardon. I'm just going to respond to a comment that someone just put up. Who says, this is Jess, who said, within a standard that focuses on uniformity, providing a trusted quality mark, how do apprentices then show excellence? You want a qualified seller, but you also want them to be excellent. And you're absolutely right. The point of a qualification, if it has any meaning, is that it gives the learner the opportunity to demonstrate that they know what excellence is and they know how to reach that standard. It's not just a tick box to say that somebody's completed a program. There is a pass-fail scenario here, so that if people don't reach the standard, they don't pass. So that if somebody has achieved a qualification, they've achieved a certain standard.
It's a loaded question. It's a loaded question, Patrick. Don't pander into her hands. Jess Flack is the Commissioner for Skills Development at Essex County Council.
I just wanted to have the chance to reiterate the point that she was asking us to reiterate.
Don't believe it's a trap. It's a trap.
Patrick, I think it's really important, isn't it? Because what we've seen is a lot of people coming onto I've seen a lot of people coming onto LinkedIn holding up a certificate saying, I'm now a social seller, and it's very clear from their LinkedIn profile they're not. And all it is a certificate they've actually attended something. It's not actually a certificate that they've achieved a level of qualification or acquisition of knowledge. Looking at his notes.
Unless you know how to apply that knowledge, unless you know how to leverage that knowledge you've been given. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just the access to power if you know how to use it.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Patrick.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great
Wow. Yeah, I'd be great to have a new member of our team, isn't it? So the thing that we were covering today, the topic of personal development and growth. I mean, obviously, education and learning is so part of that development and growth. And I think that we've all brought with us some content to have a discussion around things that have piqued our interest during the course of the week. But in the same training session where we made the comment to the learner, Tim and I, the other day about every time you use the word sales in your profile, you'll half the number of people that want to have a telephone call with you. Somebody said something really profound. So we'd done, we'd run one of our social selling modules with this team of people. And one of them said, the process of connecting to new people has been great, and I really see the value in this. But the introspection has been amazing. Looking at myself helped me to clarify who I am and who I want to be. And I just thought that's a phenomenally profound thing for somebody to say that is on the learning journey. And I think that dovetails into this idea of personal development and growth, because you can help people to develop, but the growth comes from within, doesn't it? It's the bravery for you to be able to do things that demonstrates that you've grown.
Well, that's beautiful. What you just said there is the complete antithesis of I went on a course where somebody told me how to press a button and click a ring and push this and do that and do this and then there was a whole lot of confusing stuff about content, and then there was a 5-minute like shouting and bawling session on hashtags, and then blah, absolute nonsense and gibberish. When you've got someone who says that, this is someone who's actually finding themselves.
Yeah, it's a bit like the send this in mail and you'll get $1 million.
Yes, yeah, because we know that's true, don't we? So who's brought some content? Tim, you're in charge of flipping content.
So Eric's got a video.
Okay, Eric, do your video.
The reason I asked to go first is because this is actually I wasn't actually going to put up any content, but this actually happened like today, like a couple of seconds ago. So if it's okay if you can put that on for me.
Oh, sorry,
Timothy.
Sorry, I was.
Maybe I could play it myself. So. I just put up a little post this afternoon. It's actually about those many minutes old.
Why doesn't that come up as a big on the?
Come up as a big?
Yeah, come on. It should. No, that's me.
Oh dear, nobody needs that in their life. Aye.
No, anyway. Sometimes it comes up as a screen, and we all then go small, don't we? Anyway,
that's all right. That's all right. So I put up this little post, and the post was about absolutely about development. My son is 17. He's in the village right now in Kemnay, but in September he packs up and goes to Glasgow. Actually, where I'm from, it's like the prodigal son returns. He's going back to Glasgow, and I'm now living in the village that he grew up in the north of Scotland. So he's 17. He's going to uni. He's got an unconditional placement at Caledonian University in Glasgow, and he's very chuffed about it. He's off to do electrical and electronic engineering, and we've been chatting a lot recently about my career path. And my career path's weird. So he's like, do you have to, he's asking questions, do you have to, like what I do at uni, do I have to do that for the rest of my life? How does it work? What happens? So we've been discussing a lot about career path. So I was telling him about my career path, which is weird and wonderful. It started out in electrical engineering myself. I was an electrician. I got into health and safety. I moved into sales, became sort of general manager, regional manager, managing director, board member, then ended up running my own company. Now, that isn't a traditional little path. But that's really not what this is about. It's about a comment that came on this post. So that is the content of the post. You can't read it. That's me saying, here's a little, the squiggly career all the way. So from I wanted to be a musician. I was forced to be an electrician. I did the electrician. I did it for a long time, went offshore, became a rig electrician on drilling rigs, got into health and safety, got into sales, got into blah, 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 blah. Quite a weird route to get here today. But Stephanie Boehner, or Boehner, I don't know exactly how you pronounce it properly, came back and put this in. My daughter has just decided that school sucks at 17 years old, and she's prepared a pros and cons list of whether she's going to study or not study in December. Her priority now is to not study and go to physiotherapist school. Hopefully this is the rosy thing that makes her happy for the next years ahead. Looking at her own career path, gardener to biologist to environmentalist to sales, going back to environmentalist, her definition of success is the next slide. Hold on, it's coming, is that. And I thought that was really funny and really relevant. Because that is, the bottom is my career path. Way over here, way over there. And none of it was planned. None of it was designed. A lot of it was taking advantage of opportunities and doing scary things when someone said, do you fancy giving this a go? And just going, yes! And then going, oh, when you get in behind a closed door and saying, how is this going to work out? And actually, most things will work out when they're terrified. You know, the thought of moving from electrical, all of the males on my father's side from great grandfather ago were electricians. Now, when someone said to me, do you fancy coming into health and safety? We think you'd be pretty good. And I said, yes. I disappointed my entire family. You can't do that, but we're all electricians. Everyone's an electrician. Even your mother's an electrician. No, she's not. Your gran, she's an electrician. She's standing like that, screwing in her. Yeah, you've disappointed me, son. But yeah, so in terms of learning and development, and I'm sure that Jess will support this as Commissioner for Skills Development, we don't have to take a straight career path. We can veer right and left and go back and start again and retrain and make of it what we want. Enough said. I'm done.
Yeah, I love that. I love
You
that.
like
I think. Yeah, I think it's.
Remember the saying, it'll be all right in the end, and if it isn't all right, it's because it's not the end.
Yeah.
People find their own path, and
it links actually to my point about empathy, and how important it is to be, to demonstrate that skill. Whether we're salespeople, young people that are just finishing school or our education. So there's a friend of mine who, if I can pop this post up, I used to work with, posted about the importance of empathy and, some of the key things to be empathetic. And, it reminds me about my career and how important it is to be an active listener. And I know when I'm actively listening, I'm then learning something. And if I go into conversations with a sense of curiosity, I feel like I learn a lot more because I get more out of that conversation. And the same with, when we're talking about connecting digitally, if we're empathetic, we're showing curiosity, we're really actively listening, we're more likely to make more connections that are, bring value to us. So yeah, I think, Monique is now an executive coach, and she talks a lot about this stuff. And it's a good reminder, certainly for me, that if we did, if I do these three things or think about these three things regularly, I tend to learn more on a daily basis. I don't know if you guys agree.
Yeah.
Very much so. My goodness, yeah, absolutely. And the more and more this unfolds, the idea that anyone can, and I think this is why we see so many sort of like abject failures who are just going to jump on LinkedIn, fire up some stuff, and then sit down and wait for all the purchase orders to fly in. Is the fact that it's about being your best self. It's about that being that courteous person. We talk about digitally always being the person who holds the door open for everyone. Digitally always being the person that's saying please and thank you. Marking yourself out as a different type of person that's just, you're not here to just to horse through all these transactions and get to the one, where's my purchase order, we're here to actually lay out a completely different dining table which represents who we are. I think that's beautiful, spot on. And kudos for the fact that you have one of the nicest color palettes on your computer screen that I've ever seen. That's beautiful. That green is nice. That's calming.
But back to your son and young learners, if they think about this, I think they're, if we can help teach them about empathy, then they're more likely to find a path that is of value to them in the future, as opposed to following that direction that's being forced upon them.
And I'm glad he's not watching, because he just found empathy this year. We thought he hadn't. He thought he didn't have it, but it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
It came out.
Book I just finished on empathy called Nonviolent Communication. Excellent book.
You got it handy? Can you hold it up?
I'll fight you for it.
Here it is, right here.
Oh, it is non-violent communication.
Yeah, by Marshall Rosenberg. This actually happens to be the book when Satya Nadella first started as Microsoft CEO. He asked all the senior leaders in the organization to read this book, and he did that because he has said this, that empathy is the most important skill, for lack of a better word, that is needed for the future of work. And they've built their cultural transformation around really two principles: empathy and growth mindset. So those two things coming together. This book was actually, you're going to go through some stuff reading this book.
Who wrote the opposite version? Violent communication. Is that like Tucker Carlson or someone?
It turns out that's what we're doing all the time, Eric.
Ben Shapiro or Tucker Carlson or something like that.
The default is violent communication. Yeah, Fox News wrote the handbook. But anyway, reading that book, there are ways that we use language to beat up others. We're not doing it intentionally, but we use language and it beats other people up, and we also do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
You said about that being a mindset shift, which kind of dovetails perfectly into the content that you were going to talk about, doesn't it?
Yeah, if Tim could pull it up for me, that'd be great. No, okay. I was over here struggling to get it up. My computer is. I've
got it handy if you want me to have a go at sharing it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I was saying that Microsoft, as part of its cultural transformation, had put two things that Satya focused on: the empathy and growth mindset. I think most people have heard. Well, I don't know. Many people have heard about growth mindset and Carol Dweck's book, Mindset. Jim Becker, who is the CEO of a logistics company in Illinois, they do third-party logistics, matching up customers with different logistics companies. He's on LinkedIn all the time and has created quite a community around himself, which is what we would advocate for people to do. And he talks about things that are relevant to leadership and leading and running a business. And he posted this thing a couple of weeks ago, but I just found it yesterday, about mindset. And mindset is so critically important, because most of us don't realize that we might be operating in a fixed mindset. And what's a fixed mindset sound like? It sounds like, I can't learn something new.
I know about that. I know all about that. Len, would you come to me about
that? Exactly. That's a fixed mindset. So a growth mindset really opens us up to new possibilities and opens us up to learning and developing, and most important, growing, right? And that is critically important for everyone today. At the executive level, CEOs, guys, you guys are going to have to grow. You're going to have to learn about digital, learn about new technologies, learn about how to build your culture, because you know, Satya Nadella, I'm like, have to start a fan club or join it. You know, said his number one priority as CEO of Microsoft is to build the culture that supports the business priorities. Right?
Challenge. Challenge. Challenge button. If your mindset is completely growth, do you miss opportunities to sit and be fixed? Do you have to be always in growth? The fixed mindset is always perceived as being negative, right? But actually, once you've set your targets on development, do you need to take a little moment to be fixed on delivering, and then open it up to growth again?
Well, I don't think that that we're talking about. I think what you're talking about is deciding on a goal, deciding on an objective, and talking about fixed in that sense. But a growth mindset is really more about development, right? And personal development, not so much about, okay, this is our objective for this quarter or for this year or whatever. So I would just draw a distinction in that. Okay. I think that there's a distinction between you know, setting an objective, setting a goal, and how a person is their default mode, so to speak. You don't want your default mode to be, I am this way because of X, Y, and Z, or, you know, my experience led me to this place and I'm stuck. I can't do, because when you have that fixed mindset, you not only look at yourself that way, you look at other people that way. Right?
Yeah, very
and
true.
So we want to kind of get out of that mode of operating. I think that's really more to what the growth mindset is about. It's an operating mode.
The fixed mindset I've always thought of it like this. If one says, I am bad at math, and there's nothing I can do to get better at math, right, that is a fixed mindset.
Absolutely.
What if your fixed mindset is, I'm going to absolutely destroy my competitors, and I'm going to absolutely... What if your fixed mindset is fixed on success?
That's fine. However, you can be open to, hey, maybe the path that I thought was going to lead is not working, and I need to pivot. That's open.
That you can be fixed on success, but you need to have a growth mindset to understand the path to it.
There you go.
Okay. Cool. And that's what we see, you know, talking to prospects, talking to clients every day, right? They're stuck in, this is how you do marketing. This is how you do sales, because that's the way it's been done for so long. And they're unable to see that there's a new way to achieve the objective.
Yeah. When emails aren't working, the solution is more emails.
Which actually, that brings us on to your post, because that looks like a kind of a design agency campaign for an email product, doesn't it? Yeah. Talk us through your piece of content for the week, Rob.
Thank you. So I stumbled upon this post the other day. It starts by asking, what leadership skills do you need to develop for the future? So speaking of that fixed mindset, my mind right now is not about delivering leadership skills. I could have scrolled right by that, but I stopped and read the post, and I was glad that I did. Did I learn something? Yes. But just as important, it reinforced for me some of the things that I have been working on lately. It was nice to have that validation. It was also an important reminder for me to keep learning, keep discovering, and never stop what I call sharpening the sword. And while I have learned a lot of things in many different realms over the years, I truly believe there's always something else for me to discover. Mr. DJ, Will you please play Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield?
Thank you, everybody. It's been a fantastic session, actually. I've thoroughly
Best of the year.
best of May so far. I've certainly very much enjoyed myself, I think that, judging by the comments, it's been quite stimulating for the audience as well. So thank you to everybody in the audience who's participated. Such fantastic questions and comments and observations. Thank you, obviously, to Patrick, who is our special guest today, and thank you to Lorena, Alex, Eric, Lenwood, Rob, and of course, Tim, our CEO and leader. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Adios.
Thank
Thanks,
you. Bye
everybody.
bye.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much. Bye.